Good afternoon, classmates. Today I'm doing my informative speech on the benefits of forestry in Oregon. The main points of this speech will be, first, water quality and how forestry improves water quality across rivers and streams and just all waterways in Oregon. Second, fire damage prevention and how forestry can actually lead to not causing fires but actually reduce the damage of fires. And then third, I'll be talking about the benefits of the economy in the state of Oregon because of forestry. To start out with water quality, loggers and forest landowners are required to leave areas of uncut trees and vegetation along the borders of streams and just along a plot of land next to rivers and streams you can't cut. And this is mainly to keep the habitat and wildlife healthy, like fish and then any animals that live along rivers and streams. It leaves their habitat and lets them live happily and healthily. And then it also keeps, because the roots of the trees lock in the dirt and soil, it will, leaving a buffer zone with the rivers and streams, lets the soil stay locked in and tight, and so as the rivers and streams and runoff comes through, it'll stay tight and less erosion will occur. And this is just a depiction from the Oregon Forest Land Laws.org, which that's what this law comes from when practicing forestry. And it's just a depiction. This clear spot where it's more tan, that's where it can be logged, and then it's a visual depiction of the areas that you have to leave, and then it shows the rivers. And this is just a good way to protect wildlife and then prevent an overly amount of runoff and erosion through the rivers. Next, I'm going to be talking about fire prevention and how forestry can help reduce this and mitigate the damage of fires. And thinning is the main practice that is used to reduce fires. This thinning is where you go through a plot of land and you clear out the underbrush and then cut a lot of the smaller trees and just give the more healthy trees more space to grow. And that way it's basically like you have like if you're growing a garden, you don't want two plants really close to each other because then they each don't get enough nutrients, and then one will likely die out or they both don't grow to their potential. And so what you do is you go through, and this is a visual depiction of what it is. This is what a forest would look like before a thinning treatment, and this is after, where it's just the more healthy trees and 90% or so of the underbrush is gone. And so what this helps with is the trees will begin to grow more quickly and healthily, and it won't harm the habitat whatsoever. And then it will also, if a fire did come through, when the plot of land has a ton of underbrush like this, what will happen is the fire will come through and burn, and because there's so much underbrush and shrubs and little trees, the fire will stay there longer, and that is what causes the mass amounts of tree loss, is because of the underbrush. It burns, and then because the fire stays there longer, it'll burn the trees. But once you have that underbrush and smaller trees gone, the fire moves through much, much more quickly because there's not as much to burn, and it will actually move right through the trees majority of the time. And so that's why thinning is beneficial for the habitat and for the growth of forests. And the U.S. Forest Service is one of the main people who recommends thinning for fire control and mitigating fire loss. And then lastly, the economy. In Oregon specifically, in 2016, timber generated $18 billion in output. This ranked timber number 3 in the list of all major incomes for the Oregon economy, which is quite remarkable. And that statistic is from the forestreport.org, and just because of how much money the forest can generate, it's important that we use practices like replanting, mitigating clear cuts, and thinning, just so the practice of forestry is renewable, and that way we will have this major resource in Oregon for years to come, and it'll also be part of our day-to-day lives, where it's a great ecosystem for many animals and cuts down on carbon and stuff. So going back to those 3 main points, Oregon forestry is very important just because of the water quality, mitigating fire damage, and also just because of the impacts that it has benefiting our economy. Thank you for your time.